If you guys love Talking Simpsons and What a Cartoon, you guys should check out at patreon.com/Talking Simpsons our brand new What a Cartoon movie podcast. For $10 and up patrons, you get access to our premium What a Cartoon movie podcast where me and Bob go through a different animated feature film each month. We've done Batman Mask of the Phantasm, Kiki's Delivery Service, Akira, and a Goofy movie. Who knows what we'll do next? You'll want to check it all out for yourself at the $10 and up level at patreon.com/Talking Simpsons.
Cartoons from present and the past. Every week will be an animated bash. What a cartoon! What a cartoon! Maybe a short but mostly shows. We'll talk, we'll analyze, exploring as we go. What a cartoon! What a cartoon! What a cartoon! What a cartoon!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to What a Cartoon, where we make out with sweet lady freedom. I'm your host, three-man one-e, Bob Mackey, and this is an audio exploration of every cartoon ever. Who is here with me today?
Henry Gilbert, a.k.a. Henry Firebird.
And today's episodes are the Homestar Runner episodes, Strong Bad Email Army, and The Jail Cartoon.
Welcome to Homestar10.net. It's .com. Oh, right. Homestar10.net. It's .com. Cut.
So yes, we're going into web cartoons, not for the first time. Actually, if you go back to our other series, Talking Critic, one of our many series rather, we talked a lot about web cartoons and some bad ones.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So it's time to talk about some good web cartoons, some of the more important ones in the history of that strange medium.
Oh, very much so. This is quietly one of the most formative shows of internet comedy there was, of actually doing comedy on the internet. And this was a choice of one of our premium patrons. If there's ever an opening at the $50 a month level, folks, and you want to make us do a cartoon of your choice like this person, get ready and jump on board as soon as they're open because they go fast. But this was chosen by Devin, who said about Homestar Runner, and specifically these episodes. Both of these meant a lot to me growing up in the late 90s, early 2000s, as Homestar felt like one of the only internet cartoons that felt genuinely funny, and even watching it now, I find it pretty funny at parts. I suggest these two episodes as they are short, and as such, I figure you might get more talk out of them than by looking at two other ones. But please feel free to have a discussion about the whole series.
Interesting. So let's talk about our history with the show. How about you, Henry? Where does it start?
It did start in the mid-00s, probably 04-ish, 05. I was not a super regular viewer of Homestar Runner, but it was more of those things of like a friend sharing like, hey, this is funny. And
sharing via email, perhaps, or AIM window.
Or they were just over at it became kind of a ritual of like, okay, I'm sitting at the computer now. I'm going to show you a crazy thing on the internet. Now I'm sitting at the computer. It's my turn to show a crazy thing. In my very edgelord group of friends, Homestar actually didn't get as much traction because it's what I love about it now is that it did not have an embarrassing amount of edgy humor that was just like, we couldn't do this on TV, and then you have jokes about sexual assault or ironic racism or all the things that filled Newgrounds and seemed funny in pre-9/11.
Yes, what was in most other Flash cartoons of this era.
Almost all of them, yes. So, but I think that's also why we as a group didn't watch it a ton, but I did enjoy quite a lot when I caught it, and I especially like not just the lo-fi nature of it, but also the songs. The songs were a lot of fun, too.
I have very little experience with this, which is surprising to everybody I know, and even me.
Me as well, yes.
That I have no experience with this really outside of seeing one cartoon at our regular anime night. I believe it was the anime cartoon. Hey.
Yes.
Hey, come on. I admit to that. But it was a cartoon where it was like, what would it be like if Homestar Runner was an anime character? Mm-hmm. And I had no idea what it was because you just would watch a lot of random Flash cartoons back in the day. But yeah, it's weird because I graduated high school in 2000 and my first semester of college was in the spring of 01. I took a semester off. And that was like the perfect time to get into Homestar Runner. Just
Perfect.
like that, being in college in that era, and everyone has their own computer finally after moving out of the house. But I just never saw it. I would see like stickers of the characters, and people would have them drawn on their notebooks or whatever. But I didn't know. I just be like, oh, it's that guy again. What is that from?
What is that red-headed thing?
And it's weird because at the same time as Homestar Runner is super popular, I am also on the internet making things, often humorous things. So I don't know how I never really found this on my own. I think by the time the Telltale games came out, I knew what it was, but then I was like, well, this has to be too dated for me to like, or there's too much of this for me to get into.
Or maybe it's like, oh, maybe this isn't funny. I don't want to get into it. And it has a very specific feel to it that if you're not into the feel of Homestar Runner, then you might not be into it.
Yeah.
You might not laugh.
It's got a real kind of Brack show style tone to it.
Yes.
Of goofiness,
Yeah.
and it's a little bit of sarcasm in there too. But yeah, so this is the first time I've really dug into Homestar Runner amazingly. I missed out on, I don't know, a decade of it.
It's fun to go back to it and rewatch. Or also, I knew some of the songs as just like a funny internet song people shared, but I didn't go to homestarrunner.com to check it out. Now I really appreciate just the world they built and the work they put in, the obscene amount of work the creators put into it too.
Yeah, I was watching a lot of web cartoons at the time. Anytime there was a new web cartoon, I would watch it, especially the icebox.com era where Simpsons writers would have bad web cartoons. And I would also, I was more into Something Awful's Flash Tub cartoons. They'd have weekly Flash cartoons with lots of recurring series and characters. And yes, they were a little edgier than Homestar Runner. And some of them probably haven't aged well. It's a good thing you can't watch them anymore because Flash doesn't work for anybody.
No, and I think of some of the things, I forget one of the new, there are definitely a lot of Newground things about, say, Mr. T, I recall, that had a lot of racial humor, let's say, from very likely white people who made it.
I mean, go back to the famous Icebox series, Mr. Wong. And that was peak ironic racism.
Yeah.
But was it really that ironic?
No, I mean, it's the conversation these days has been like, wow, everybody wore blackface in the 80s. But this is for the 90s of like, oh, I guess we all did have these awful cartoons that we thought were funny and like could just tell ourselves, no, it's ironic. They're making fun of a racist stereotype. They don't hate this person. In the case of ironic racism, I think too that a lot of people weren't personally racist or maybe didn't feel that way, but they also are bad at satire and irony.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to get correct.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, Homestar Runner, basically guilty of none of those things. There's a character in one of these called Bubs that shows up that is very much the angry chief character which means putting on a kind of African-American style angry man voice, which that hasn't aged as well. But other than that.
Yes, and you can say whatever you want about about Homestar Runner's idiot voice. There's many idiot voices on this show, though, on this series.
Honestly, I do kind of love that.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. Idiot.
Yeah.
But those lines are so funny to me, just from like that opening clip of Homestar there going like, it's a .net, it's a .com. Like that's him being almost actively stupid of like, there's no way a person would accidentally say this. You're trying to drive me crazy by acting this dumb. Like, so I like that about Homestar. And there's weird accents on kind of everybody here.
It's true.
I think Homestar is honestly the funniest to me. I think Strong Bad's pretty funny, but Homestar actually made me laugh the most.
I think I'm a Strong Bad guy. I like his readings more.
They are funny.
Yeah.
The guy gets into funny places with him too. It's just a lot of like fun. I wonder what the line was between improv and writing on those two. Like sometimes it just feels like one of the guys just ad-libbing the whole time.
Yeah, reacting in the moment. Mm-hmm. But who are these guys, Henry? There's two of them.
Well, yes. Let's go all the way back to the mid-90s, Bob.
Oh, I don't like that time. No, wait, I love it.
If
I was me then,
and
not a 14-year-old me then, it'd be fine.
Oh my God, to live as a 36-year-old in 1996. Oh, beautiful. We'd have jobs for life just at a video game website by being a white person who played video games.
I'd be a jerk boss right now.
But, okay, so it's the mid-90s, 1996, let's say. And animation is difficult, isn't it? You got to draw all this stuff and work with a ton of people, and it costs a ton of money. You can't do it alone, could you? But what if a company called Adobe made a program called Flash?
I'm listening.
Well, yes, the Adobe Flash program really did change. I don't think they thought it would be as gigantic for changing animation as it would be, but it really was. Like, it not only created shows that were like, look, legitimate animated, like at this point, Oscar nominated films like The Secret of Kells was made on Flash.
Oh, interesting.
So Flash is very, it's kind of an insult to say like it looks a bit flashy about some cartoon, but it can do amazing stuff given the talent and effort into it.
We really need a term for that kind of animation because I don't even think Flash is used anymore. It's like animation suites like Toon Boom and things like that.
I think it's more Toon Boom, honestly.
I think that's what The Simpsons is using now or something. Like
so.
A lot of people use Toon Boom.
Well, you had a great term on our Bob's Burgers one of like puppety.
Puppety, yeah.
I like that term too. Flash animation hit animation like a meteor. It opened up a whole new world for animators who didn't need to have classic animation training or really even live in any of the places where they make cartoons to make your own cartoons.
This makes me miss the old internet because A, there were websites and people went to websites. You don't go to websites anymore, but B, all of these new boundaries are being broken and it felt like it was limitless. Before social media, it felt like what else can we do? Like we can make our own shows, we can make our own radio shows.
If you went to a website, you literally didn't know what you would see.
Yeah.
Like if somebody told you this new website has cartoons on it, you'd go like, what? Wait, how can that happen? How are cartoons on this website? And it got just passed around by word of mouth. We sound like old people talking about the radio, but
it's like the great train robbery sort of moment. But I remember back when I loved South Park when it first came on in like 1997, there was a very famous South Park page, and someone had recreated a scene from Volcano, the South Park episode Volcano, in Flash.
Right.
And they were like, "Are you wondering how we did this? Well, it's called Flash." Because every video you could download of South Park was a very crummy, real player style video. You could not get the crisp, clean lines of a South Park character. But with Flash, they were just shapes moving around and animated accordingly to how the animator wanted it to.
Yeah, while playing a sound file.
Yeah.
And also like soundboards too, not even just animation, like all these goofy things you could do, or little games. It was kind of amazing. What
Frog
you
in a
could do with
blender,
Flash.
right?
Yes, yeah. Or I mean, what was that? Well, it was like Little Fingers or something, the Newgrounds one.
Salad Fingers.
Salad Fingers,
And also thinking of all the Metallica.
Oh, yes.
Napster band.
Oh, God.
All that shit.
Jib Jab, baby.
Yeah.
Jib Jab.
They're still doing it.
But so Flash opened up all this at the same time. I think a major part of Flash's ubiquitousness was South Park, because even though originally South Park was a stop motion show until they
one episode.
Yes.
That's really it, just one.
And then they got into maybe not Flash exactly, but similar programs.
Yeah.
I think the mega popularity of South Park told a lot of people like a popular cartoon show can be this. It can look like this and have flat characters that hop up and down and don't even move their legs. Like, can be amateurish has so much negative connotations to it, but it doesn't need to be that professional for an aspiring animator to just make it in their house like Trey Parker and Matt Stone did. That really opened up a door that even the idea of like, technically, if you had your own, your own single click camera, you could do claymation, you could do it.
Yeah.
But this, you're making a cartoon on your computer that you're then going to share to computers. It was an easy one-to-one transfer that saved a lot of time too. All these independent animators learned Flash and were starting to share their stories on sites like Newgrounds, especially was the big one I visited for a ton of Flash stuff.
I'm sure all those people now work on TV shows, or a lot of them.
At least a lot of them. The ones that didn't get arrested, but
so many school shooting games on Newgrounds.
It was so that, I mean, when we talk, this is a slight tangent, but when you talk about like Chan culture or like growing up on the internet, like this is the like water we breathed as fishes on the internet that I think poisoned the mind of a generation. And we have to kind of like unlearn or relearn sincerity, because nothing was
really
sincere. True. Like, you would play a Columbine school shooting recreation game and then just say like, can you believe I did that? That's right, Mom.
Yes,
you would
exactly.
want me to. Instead of like, it didn't matter if it was good or not. You were doing it for shock value.
Yeah, because you could.
And Newgrounds really traded on that. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed them. But around the same time, there was another fun cartoon that was getting started that was snarky, and had a little bite to it, but was really an all ages cartoon on the internet. And that came straight out of Atlanta, starting in 1996. Matt and Mike Chapman, or the Brothers Chapman as they're referred to, they were a couple of mega dork suburban white kids who were super into They Might Be Giants and Mystery Science Theater and Tiny Toons.
My kind of guys.
I know, they are literally us.
Yeah.
Like
Plus 10 years.
Yeah, they're 42. 40.
Yeah.
Okay, so they are plus 10 years. You're right, but still,
I am 32 years old, by the way. I'm not.
but they are us. Like, the more I read about them, I was like, oh, this is very easily identifiable, and I get why we all were able to laugh at this because we're the same person. I mean, when they talk about their love of They Might Be Giants and Tiny Toons, I feel like they maybe one led into the other, seeing them on Tiny Toons, just like it did for us. Mm-hmm. In one of their oral histories, they even talked about how they were the youngest of 5, and that they had older brothers who would even introduce them to the nerdy stuff they grew up with.
Oh,
so
wow, there were other Chapmans.
It was like this mega brain dump of nerdy references just thrown at them, and they just became a group that did inside jokes with each other all the time.
I just don't get how anyone can work with a sibling for that long. I guess if you have 3 other brothers floating around, you're used to just being friends with your siblings.
You pick one.
Yeah.
At the very least, you can befriend one of them. But, and yeah, just like, I think especially that They Might Be Giants' influence on them is really apparent because the TMBG, which if you were a nerd in the 90s, you of course loved, like me, and they were never
popular.
No, well, I was going to say they weren't exactly for children, but they were kind of for everybody. They had a bite to their stuff, but they wouldn't like sing about sex or dirty, sinful things. They had a nice kind of like a reverence to them that really anybody could appreciate. And I think that really comes through in like the comedy and songs that the Chapman brothers would do. They loved to make each other laugh. They were just a couple of like nerdy dorks goofing with each other. They made up this character, just Homestar Runner, that was this like inside joke between them of referring to an Atlanta Braves baseball player.
Okay.
And in 1996, they thought it would be funny if a character called Homestar Runner appeared in a fake kids book or a joke kids book. It would be about him going in competition and facing off against his nemesis Strong Bad, who was influenced by the classic retro wrestling game Tag Team Wrestling.
Yeah, a lot of this is steeped in video games.
Video
much
games
of
too,
Homestar
yes.
Runner,
Very.
especially text adventures.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Holy shit. You're right. Yeah. And well, that again is them being a little older than us.
Yeah.
Like this is something that makes me feel old. Actually, we talked about it in our Gumball one, but in Gumball, they have FF7 nostalgia. They have early Polygon nostalgia. We have good pixel nostalgia.
Yeah.
And the Brothers Chapman have bad pixel nostalgia.
Yeah, like old PC game nostalgia.
It's like, oh wow, look at this duck from Adventure. How amazing does this? I know it's a dragon. I know, but so first they want to make it as a book, but they're starting to see all these funny cartoons that people can do in Flash, and so one of them drops out of grad school, and they're like, let's learn Flash. Let's make these as a cartoon. So Matt and Mike handle the cartoon making duties together. They're both animating it. And then Matt does every voice except for the one woman on the show, Marzipan, which is voiced by Missy Palmer, the now wife of Mike Chapman.
That's why everyone has such a different accent, because it's one guy trying to cover up his one voice. So it's a different accent, and it's sped up or slowed down or pitched up or pitched down or whatever.
It's very ahead of its time with the aesthetic of cable cartoons of like, well, the creator voices 17 of these characters because you can't fire him. Like, I mean, and I also think, you think about South Park leading the way. I think Matt and Trey doing the voices. Like, Matt Groening didn't do his voices.
Yeah, that's true.
But, well, actually, Mike Judge, even before Matt and Trey, they did do their own voices. So I think it gave permission to artists to, they're like, hey, I have a funny voice. Hello, I'm the voice. And so they worked together to make their first Flash animation, and it's a story about the competition of the Homestar Runner versus Strong Bad and him being a better athlete at these competitions. And they think it's kind of boring and people don't really respond to it. So the second one they make is all about the goofy adventures they have in between competitions, and they realize like, oh, that's exactly what we're supposed to do. This is all it should be. And it just goes from there with a weekly Flash cartoon or or game or something. Almost every Monday, they would put up a new one of those, starting in 01 for almost 10 years straight.
Yeah, just dipping randomly in and out of these cartoons this morning while doing some research, I was surprised by how well this world is fleshed out. And going into the wiki and reading about all the characters, like, wow, this is not just random Mad Lib stuff. They really thought about these guys.
Well, when you have to make, like, on average, a new cartoon each week, you do think about these things like, oh, we have to tell more of a story. We have to build more of a background. Or when you introduce a new character, then you're like, oh, well, we've got this new character. What did he do? Where's he from? What does he? Or just as a one-off line, Strong Bad will mention he's from the land of Strong Badia, and then you just grow from there. And it's just this is how continuity and dare I say myth making happens.
It's true. I mean, one of the characters in this, one of the cartoons we're watching is just a popcorn machine that doesn't say anything or do anything or move, and its name is Benedetto. I had to look that up. Like, what is this?
And he just keeps appearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, also interesting about the hit that really sets a tone for 2000s comedy. They start their series of cartoons with Homestar Runner, the lovable dope, as the main character. Very quickly, they see that fans like Strong Bad more, and I think they enjoy being Strong Bad more too, and doing silly jokes with him. And then it just kind of flips that Strong Bad becomes the main character who is bedeviled by Homestar Runner and his idiocy.
I think the games are even named Strong Bad's game for cool, attractive people. It wasn't Homestar Runner's game.
That's when they fought. I wonder if that was Telltale saying, like, people want like Strong Bad. We're going to name this Strong Bad. But the brothers Chapman actually had like a very uncommercial sensibility to them too, which is kind of confusing in these days to me. Honestly, I would want to go back in time and shake them like, sell this shit better. Like, so Strong Bad becomes popular not just through the recurring cartoons and games they create on HomestarRunner.com, but also through new segments they created, including one that started as simple and then turned very complex called Strong Bad Emails, where at first it was just like he's looking at a computer screen and he reads an email in the Strong Bad voice, and it feels very like riffing of just like he goofs on the person's email, or
he often will read the typos or comment on punctuation and things like that.
And he'd just be like, no, I do not love you. Like, and it would grow from there, these silly email things, but then plots would happen to them, or they'd then sing a song. And actually, I suppose the first big hit song for them was Everybody to the Limit.
I said, come on for Hogwarts, guys. I said, come on for Hogwarts, guys.
That there is just from a mistype, or not even a typo, a person just jamming a bunch of keys when they signed their email to Strong Bad. And from there, he made up the song "Come On for Hogwa Gods." It's funny nonsense. It's that's fun. It's a fun song, and it became a huge hit. But the brothers Chapman can't even say they know how much it got viewed because they didn't have view counters on their site.
They just were so humble they were able to live off of it, and that was enough. And their parents were like packing the merchandise for them and stuff. It was a very mom and pop web cartoon.
The way they made money, because they didn't have ads on their site, which they could have easily done, was selling T-shirts. And in another oral history I read, they were even kind of ashamed of doing that. They were like, guys, please buy T-shirts so we can keep doing this because it'll pay for the office. And they'd later make DVDs and stuff, or they also have Strong Bad's sidekick, The Cheat, also then ended up with a team called the Cheat Commandos, which is basically G.I. Joe, except they all look like the Cheat in different costumes.
Okay.
And they made it to be toys. And then they also, when their father suggested, hey, what if at the end of this you put in an ad for the toys and sent people to buy it? They're like, we're not sellouts. We're not doing that, Dad. It's like, guys, sell your toy. You made them. Sell them.
It's funny because now we mentioned some of the things that made them famous. So that song made them famous. Trogdor the Burninator is another thing. And I have something to say about that whenever you want to play.
Oh, yeah. So let me play a
sure.
quick clip from Trogdor.
I mean, it was just a dragon. But it was still Trogdor! Trogdor! Burninating the countryside.
So yes, Trogdor the Barbarian, not the Barbarian, the Burninator, sorry.
Yes.
We were talking about how reluctant they were to market things. I just found out about this. I think I heard about it at the time, but I was not paying attention to Homestar stuff. But last summer, they kickstarted a Trogdor the Burninator board game.
That's
and
right.
It has $1.4 million raised for it.
Holy shit.
23,000 backers. So people still love this stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was just last year. I had completely forgot about that. Damn. Well, I'm glad that they still have fans now it's so old enough that people can have legitimate nostalgia for Homestar Runner and want to cash in on it as adults. Yeah, it's funny the timing too of when they launched HomestarRunner.com, because it was like January 1st, 2000s. Like it couldn't be a more 2000s thing ever. And it was regularly updated till 2010. So a whole decade they were doing it. And it was weird to see they even felt some shame. Like actually in one of these we're going to watch in emails, they kind of apologized like, oh, it's been too long. Like he wipes the dust off the thing. It was what they felt was too long in 04 when that posted in early 04. It was because they took I think 2 weeks off for the holidays. Like, boo, how dare you take 2 weeks off for the holidays? But they knew they were getting a ton of people emailing like, where's the next episode? And though this was before social media, so
there weren't like ads on these or ads on the site or anything, right?
No ads. They were very much like no ads, no pop-ups. None of the ways people made money off it. Like if you compare it to contemporaries like Control-Alt-Delete or Penny Arcade, they definitely monetized their stuff a lot better than Homestar did.
Control-Delete.
I mean, hey, look, it was a time.
They've got an animated series we could talk about.
If any of you $50 people are listening, do not make us watch that. I beg of you.
Now they're going to.
H Bomber Guy had the ultimate CAD video. Everybody needs to watch that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
You feel ashamed about it. I mean, it's easy to just say like these were bad and these were bad comic strips and they sucked.
Fun.
But it's rightly so, but they were popular then for a reason. And I think a lot of people, I feel shame for thinking those things were funny. And so that makes me more ready to make fun of them, to be like, I don't like these anymore. See how hard I make fun of Control-Alt-Delete or Penny Arcade? But you compare Penny Arcade to Homestar and it's like, Penny Arcade was full of a lot more like senseless violence and also swears, so many swears.
Yeah.
The fruit fucker, for example. Yep. The Divx machine that just was like, hey, fuck you, I'm Divx. Eat shit. That's what we called comedy.
You're not going to see that in your funny pages.
And CAD basically just had a bender who said more swears.
Oh yeah,
like
every
very original comic.
God, I swear to God, every webcomic that started in the early 2000s had a bender character that wanted to kill all humans.
So isn't it great that like Homestar didn't have that shit? Like Strong Bad's the closest to it, but he's sort of evil in that he likes to do dumb pranks. Like that is the height of the evilness of Strong Bad, the anti-hero, that he wants to goof on people. Like I think the jail one we're doing has some of the most evil that Strong Bad does, which is just like stealing chocolate, like stealing band chocolate.
And a crown.
And a crown, yes. From a very stupid guy. But also in the pre-social media age, you just would go to homestarrunner.com and hope that there was a new thing. Like I remember just for lots of sites cycling through it, like, could there be a new thing today? I didn't have the Twitter for the artist.
No push notification.
None of that. So,
I mean, for as convenient as everything is now, this made me miss the old internet and just having like, I'm going to go check on all my websites today, my website bookmark folder, and see what's going on my websites. And just going to message boards and having all the time in the world.
Okay, I checked the GameSpot news. Now it's time to check the IGN news. Okay, now Penny Arcade. All right, and now it's time for Leisure Town. Maybe there's a new Leisure Town. There rarely was a new Leisure Town.
Yeah.
But it was a day to rejoice when there was a new Leisure Town. And the Strong Bad really did just kind of take over the Homestar place. But you can also see the Brothers Chapman really growing as both Matt as a performer and Mike and Matt as just writers and animators. Like the animation got, it always kept the same sheen of amateurishness, but actually got more professional as they went. And same with like Matt's performances as the characters got better comedically, and their writing got better just like in, pacing and payoff to jokes and setup. They just got better at it, and it's impressive to see when you rewatch them. Strong Bad emails not only gave way to like characters like Trogdor and other songs, that then became just hit songs, which they would also release on a CD called Strong Bad Sings. But there were also things like the Teen Girl Squad comics, which was just started as an email that Strong Bad was asked, like, could you draw a comic about girls? He's like, sure. And he just then talks over them in the character of Strong Bad, then doing girly character voices.
Yeah. Is there like a quote unquote legit way to watch these online? Because they've all been uploaded to YouTube 1,000 times by other people, but in various different qualities, I guess. But I don't know if there's like a place you can go. Can you still go to
HomestarRunner.com still works.
Okay.
If you got Flash on your machine, which you don't have on your phone.
Yeah,
but if
that's right.
on your laptop, you can do it. Homestar Runner themselves do have an official YouTube page where they posted a lot of their stuff because they put out a DVD in the mid 2000s that had these cartoons on them. I believe they just upload those. So there are legitimate avenues to do it, and you can just there's all the uploads from Thieves too.
Yeah.
So, which again, like that's not how they monetized it anyway. So. Simply spreading the word of Strong Bad, that is all they need for them. Yeah, Homestar Runner was incredibly influential, like on just internet comedy. The idea of like epic randomness, like, whoa, can you believe this? Or characters talking to themselves in affected accents that are like, technically Strong Bad starts as like a luchador, and then they kind of just twist that accent so far that it's just its own
own thing, yeah.
And with most of the characters with their silly accents or silly ways of speaking. And I also, another thing I really appreciate about Strong Bad compared to its contemporaries is that there's no obvious self-insert character, which is really nice. Like,
we were talking about things like Penny Arcade and Control Alt Delete and a lot of those.
I think that like they always have to have so many of them just have this self-insert character who is like 20 to 50% more handsome than the actual writer.
And less bald.
Who has a constant smirk on his face, and who is like the smartest, coolest guy.
With a gamer girlfriend.
It's a gamer girlfriend who's hot, and everybody thinks she's hot. And he has then his self-insert of his best friend who doesn't get girls until like 7 years into the comic strip where they're like, fine, you get a girlfriend too. She's not as hot as mine. And all that shit. Like, Homestar doesn't have that. I mean, I'm sure there is a little bit of all of them in the characters, but nobody is made to look cool. Even Strong Bad is not cool.
Yeah.
They're all basically like children. There's almost like a Muppet Babies quality to it at times too. They're more like children playing.
They're having like a real imagination adventures in this show.
These self-insert characters that I hated so much, I feel like you can partially blame Kevin Smith for that because
for sure, yeah.
All Kevin Smith movies are Kevin Smith speaking to himself about things all the time.
Conversations with himself via
also,
like 8 characters, yeah.
And also saying like, I used to have a really awesome girlfriend. Now I have a different awesome girlfriend. And then I had a bad girlfriend. Now I have I mean, like Chasing Amy is really about how he was jealous that Joey Allison was he wasn't the first guy that got with her. Like, that's all it is.
Make a movie about it. Why not?
Yeah.
Get some of that Weinstein money. Yeah.
Ooh,
we could do the Clerks animated series though. It's still good. It's still good.
It's still good. I think we will.
Yeah.
I think definitely at some point. They worked on basically a weekly schedule. They self-merchandised. They sold all the stuff. They shipped it themselves. They didn't sell out ever, which seems really weird. Like, you have to think many people call them with like, here's $1 million. Can we just have this, please? Everybody's putting this. This is getting referenced on things. The stickers are everywhere. It was a legitimate word of mouth hit.
Yeah,
you know?
I have to wonder if did Adult Swim approach them ever? They had to have.
to think so. You gotta think. But they did. I mean, they lived in Atlanta. It's down the street from Turner.
That's true.
How
surprised
could
they weren't
not?
rated by Adult Swim executives.
Well, I think too that's why when it's just you and your brother, you're going to be more true to yourself than true to each other than if you have other folks on the team that could get hired away. And I just like to imagine, like, what if there had been in 2007, if they had a Kickstarter or a Patreon, how much money they would have got.
Yeah. God.
Unbelievable amounts. It's insane. And they talk about the Brothers Chapman in interviews now about like how they couldn't work today. This thing, Homestar Runner, couldn't be shared the way it was shared. It couldn't have the air of mystery to it. There'd just be Twitter accounts for everything. And they talk about how exhausted they were doing it full time. Imagine how exhausted they would even more so if they had, like, they'd have to hire a PR manager or somebody to handle constant Twitter accounts, the Facebook accounts,
Yeah.
the Instagram account, posting it to everything. I feel exhausted
Me
already.
too. We do half of that stuff, and it's a lot of work.
Yes, that is true. And there's a really sweet moment, though, that touches me about the Chapman brothers. It makes me see them as a heart after my own, where they talk about how, like, what really felt like success for them was in '04, where they said, like, on the same day, they got a demo of a song from They Might Be Giants to play on the show.
Nice.
And then also, Jim and Malin sent them a Tom Servo.
Oh my God.
Like, that happened on the same day. It's like, well, I can just die now. My childhood dreams.
Where
have
can I
been
go?
fulfilled.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go but down from there. Well, They Might Be Giants, like John Linnell, my favorite member of They Might Be Giants, if I have to pick one. They're both great. But John Linnell talked about how it was a mutual admiration thing. They loved Homestar because it reminded them of, like, Dial a Song and all of the stuff they were doing when they were getting started that TMBG was. And they had famous fans like Joss Whedon and other. Yeah, hey, in 2006, having Joss Whedon in your corner, that was a big deal.
The hottest ticket in town, baby.
So yeah, they were at it for 10 years straight. Then in 2010, it just stopped updating. There were no updates to Homestar Runner and no information on why there weren't updates. Just complete silence, which is kind of shocking in this day and age, like to just have nothing. But the behind the scenes reason is because they had they had kids growing up, and they wanted to do more than just Homestar. And Matt Chapman, both Mike and Matt, they worked together on Yo Gabba Gabba and other kid shows, and a couple other kid shows like that.
I gotta say, I saw the Aquabat Super Show as one of the credits, and that's a really good show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never watched that.
It's a lot of fun, even though it's
Okay.
for kids.
I mean, it fits with their musical. Yo Gabba Gabba and Aquabats both fits with their musical talent. Their mix of comedy and music for all ages. It really fits with them. And then Matt Chapman moved out to Los Angeles to become just a full-time writer for animation. Even worked on Gravity Falls,
Oh,
the
wow.
amazing series
No
Gravity
way.
Falls. I first heard about it, Gravity Falls, because a friend was like, "Oh, you should check out this new show, Gravity Falls, one of the Homestar guys writes on
Oh,
it."
wow.
Well,
I had no idea.
I mean, Alex Hirsch is definitely a very online guy, the creator of Gravity Falls. It's seems like a pretty cool guy. And so he definitely grew up with Homestar cartoons and wanted to hire that. I could see them just saying, like, "Oh, can I hire the Homestar guy? He influenced all my comedic sensibilities." Same with, like, you got to imagine that Justin Roiland was a viewer of Homestar.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he was an early Flash animator
Yeah,
too.
he was doing stuff right after that period.
It's easy to forget that he's just the Rick and Morty guy now, but he was.
He built his fortune on web cartoons, extremely vulgar and crass web cartoons.
Well,
that I'm sure he doesn't want you to see.
I mean, imagine Justin Roiland 10 years younger and still saying whatever fart and sex noise came into his head.
Yeah.
And ooh, Bill Cosby. But it stopped being actively updated in 2010. Though by 2010, they had already appeared they had their own Telltale game, which came out in 2008 for just the Wii and Mac. Like, that was it.
I think it was eventually ported to everything else, though.
I mean, that's Telltale
Yeah.
in general. Yeah, but you're right. It was. They got 5 whole episodes.
Now I kind of want to play those because I skipped
Yeah.
them at the time, but I feel like this form of humor would work best in a game, even more than a cartoon, kind of.
I think it's a perfect fit. One, it's so writer driven, and those were always the best of the Telltale titles. And I kind of would want to go back and play them just to go back to when Telltale wasn't too big for its britches.
When they got sensible, moderate licenses that could make them money.
Sane planning, sensible future.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
That should have been their way of thinking. Instead of, they were like, well, what if we spend $1 billion on Game of Thrones? We'll make it back. We're Telltale. And now there is no more Telltale. But yeah, so they basically go on hiatus, and then April Fool's Day 2014, the world is shocked to see a brand new Homestar Runner cartoon just appear that they didn't even advertise. It just had to go by word of mouth again, that friends were telling each other now on social media. oh my God, guys, there's an update to Homestar Runner.
So somebody was checking that page every day, it seems.
And it was a great troll. It was actually a really great troll of the account of how long it had been since an update, because Homestar Runner's like, now I know what you guys want me to update. The soundboard. and then Strong Bad appears. He's like, that's not what people want. They want Strong Bad desktop for their Windows 98. And they made a legitimate Windows 98 desktop with Strong Bad sounds on
We were
it.
the fools, the April fools, as it were.
And from then on, they kind of just update whenever they feel like it, like they did. One of my favorite updates of theirs was the October 2014 one, which was called Fisheye Lens, which was just a new song. They're like, we made a new song. And it's about how it's an ode to the Fisheye Lens music videos of the late 90s and how like cool you'd be with a fisheye lens. I get a womp womp fisheye lens. It's fun. And they updated as recently as like last November in 2018.
All of this makes me sad I didn't follow it from the beginning, or didn't follow it in college. I think I would have gotten a lot more out of it if I had kept up with it and been excited and part of that culture, because it seems like so great, just a new cartoon every week and seeing the characters grow and seeing the world grow and then having it all ripped from you suddenly.
I think Bob of 2003 would have really loved
Probably.
this.
I was even more of a snob, but
Well, maybe not.
Yeah.
But another reason they started doing it again was that Matt moved back to Atlanta, Decatur actually, and now works again with Mike Chapman. I did like in one of the articles we both read about it, they were kind of defensive of like, we did not live in our parents' basement. We paid for a fucking office in Atlanta.
we lived in the attic.
Though their parents did help them ship.
Yeah,
t-shirts.
it's all very cute. I like how it's a family operation.
Yeah, I agree. They but so now that they live in the same place and work together, and they kind of do Strong Bad stuff whenever they have the chance, and they'll update it when they feel like it, but it's just a random occurrence, a nice treat you can't predict.
Yeah,
But-
it's just amazing though that I don't know. So 8 years after the series is over, and like 10 years after the last game, they're able to make like over $1 million
Yes,
on
yeah.
a board game based on one web cartoon, albeit the most popular one they made probably, but still, even that I heard from. So I have to thank Nina Matsumoto, a friend of the show, for giving me a lot of this information. She'd be a guest, but I only found out at the last minute that she is a Homestar Runner fan.
Oh.
But apparently, all the things she told me, I found out that the Trogdor song is in Guitar Hero too.
It is in Guitar Hero 2.
Man.
It confused some people. They're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, well, that was the last one they made for fun before Activision turned it into the money printing machine. So that's how you get a silly song like Trogdor in there. And also their song Limousine was in a rock band song, album as well. Yeah, actually, when you put it like that, like it's been, now that we're in 2019, like it is literally 9 years since they stopped regularly updating it, and they still have that much influence, and it's just still such a big deal. They did another great April Fool's Day update video that was a joke about how awful the internet is on April Fool's Day. And they talked about like, come on, Strong Bad, do the April Fool's Day. He's like, oh, what, you want me to reskin the website like it's 1930? And he's like, or do you want me to sell a joke item that I'll actually will sell if enough people pre-order?
I think that era is coming to a close, thank God, though. Having worked at websites and
I think
having
it's
to do all
done.
that horrible shit, yeah.
I think that time, I think the days of IGN spending $40,000 on a fake trailer,
That is true, yeah.
that's not going to happen anymore. That was a made up number, just my estimation.
It was still a lot of money.
And I mean, definitely more than they would have spent on the entirety of their freelance in the last 10 years. I would
That is
bet.
true. The last decade.
But yes, not only did the brothers Chapman start working together again when Matt moved back to Atlanta on Homestar, but they also got a new series, a web series with Disney as part of, they have an overall deal with Disney, and it just ended, but they have a series called Two More Eggs, and when I watched it, I was like, well, this is just this is them doing Homestar, but for a younger audience.
Someone else owns it.
Yes, like here's the 2 million views top Two More Eggs video called Doobly Doo.
More eggs, two more eggs. Double and double and doubly do. Double and double and doubly do. Double and double and doubly do. Double and double and doubly do.
And increasingly silly things are happening as the character Double is singing this song.
So apparently that's Disney's first animated web series.
Oh, wow. I did not
And
know
there are
that.
90 episodes. They did a lot of this then.
They picked the right guys to do it, and it had the same weekly deadline too as Homestar Runner. So that was really honestly smart on Disney's case. Like, could we just hire these guys to just make our own Homestar Runner, and they just update it weekly with silly things? And they probably made a lot of money on that, which is good. Like, so many internet people didn't make internet money. Like, nobody got to get rich. I don't know how much Chocolate Rain Kid made, for example, when we talk about like pre-Twitter, pre-social media internet hits.
Yeah, it's funny that Homestar Runner was starting as the internet bubble was bursting, the first one.
Yeah, when there was just money, you could throw money at Icebox to make critic cartoons.
Yeah.
And they were awful. Sorry.
A new bubble is inflating as we speak, by the way.
Oh, I mean, it's close to bursting now. I mean, I don't know how Twitter and Facebook and Instagram all continue going when you don't make anything, but somehow it's going to happen.
Even things like Uber and Lyft.
Oh, God.
We will one day have a profit.
I will look back on this time as like, well, we had the Twitter president, we had the Twitter world. Like, this is just a world, an America at least, shaped by Twitter, and it's not a good one.
No, but I can't get off of
I
it.
can't stop. I can't log off. I never will. You log off first. Let's take a break, and then we'll go back to a simpler time of the internet, starting with Strong Bad's email, :army.
I said, come on for Hogwarts, guys. I said, come on for Hogwarts, guys. Everybody to the limit, everybody to the limit, everybody come on for Hogwarts, guys. I said, come on for Hogwarts, guys. I said, come on for Hogwarts, guys. Everybody to the limit. Who's that? It's to the limit. Everybody come on for Hogwarts, guys. Come on for Hogwarts, guys. I see you jocking me, trying to play like you know me. I'm like, come on for Hogwarts, guys. I said, come on for Hogwarts, guys. Everybody to the limit. The cheat is to the limit. Everybody come on for Hogwarts, guys. I say, ooh, ah, for Hogwarts, guys. I say, ooh, ah, for Hogwarts, guys. Who's that for Hogwarts, guys? I said, who is that for Hogwarts, guys? I don't know who it is, but it probably is for Hogwarts, guys. I asked my friend Joe, I asked my friend Jake. They said it was for Hogwarts, guys. I said, come on for Hogwarts, guys. I said, come on for Hogwarts, guys. Who is it to the limit? Say me. I'm to the limit. Everybody come on for Hogwarts, guys. Man, for Hogwarts, guys, you're just making yourself look worse, you know? I mean, everybody's just gonna feel sorry for you. I mean, I do. Now that's what I'm talking about. That was amazing. I mean, I can't, take it up. I'm buying you a pizza.
What's up, Purple? I hope you guys are enjoying our Jorb this week. It's me, Henry Gilbert.
Hey, it's Bob Mackey coming to you at a low bit rate. What's up, folks?
And hey, it's me and Bob saying hi to you folks listening on the free feed. And we really enjoyed doing Homestar Runner this week as chosen by one of our premium patrons. Did you even know that you could become just a regular or even premium patron at patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons?
They're all premium in my heart, Henry. But yes, if you go to patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons and sign up at the $5 level, you get every episode of this podcast and our sister podcast, Talking Simpsons, a week ahead of time and ad-free. You could be listening to us talk about Doug right now.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine what we're saying about Doug.
Nothing
It's
but
very
kind things about how Doug reminds us of ourselves and how we resent him for that.
Yes, how dare he be like awkward me was. That's horrible.
But if you sign up at the $5 level, you also get all kinds of bonus podcasts, including exclusive miniseries like Talking Critic, Talking Futurama, and this month, in the month of March, we're launching Talk King of the Hill, an entire first season exploration of King of the Hill done in the Talking Simpsons format. So that's something to look forward to. That's something that's only available to patrons on top of all the other bonus stuff we've done, like interviews. We just interviewed Jeff Martin, writer for seasons 2 through 4 of The Simpsons, and writer of all those great songs that we love, like the Monorail song, the Capital City song. What else, Henry?
The entire Streetcar musical.
Yes,
he wrote all
exactly,
those
exactly.
songs. Even the Jebediah Springfield song. He wrote a ton of great stuff, and he has so many stories to tell us about the golden years of The Simpsons and even what it was like to lead the show at season 4, all of his friends that he worked with on there, his continued involvement with the show to this day. He even tells us a fun secret about a sound clip that is very important to the Talking Simpsons mythos.
That is right. And we learn so much, and I love when we learn things from interviews because we think we know it all.
We have so many great interviews. That's just the most recent one. You should hear our ones with Mike Scully, Mike Reese, David Silverman, Mark Kirkland, Bill Oakley, Josh Weinstein, and so many other greats of Simpsons repute.
I think we're up to like 18 or 17 at this point in almost 2 years. So a lot to check out on the Patreon.
And only $5 and up folks can hear it.
If you really want to give, we have a premium movie podcast for you that's even longer than our normal podcast. It's called What a Cartoon Movie. We began it with Batman Mask of the Phantasm. We continued with movies like Kiki's Delivery Service and Akira in January. And this month, in the month of February, last month, we did a Goofy movie, a much lighter movie than our normal fare for the What a Cartoon Movie podcast, but you can only hear that episode about a Goofy movie if you sign up at the $10 level, and if you do, you'll also have access to about 18 months worth of exclusive videos. That used to be a video tier, but we made it a podcast tier because you people like listening to us podcast, and we agree that's the best thing that we do.
So you guys can definitely check out our commentary on the original Simpsons shorts, for instance. All of that you can find as a subscriber on the Talking Simpsons Network at patreon.com/Talking Simpsons. It's so easy to sign up. You get an RSS feed that can be plugged into any podcast listening device of choice, and it'll instantly download them. Or you can just use the Patreon app, which is actually really improved over the last few years.
It is very good. If I didn't have my Downcast that I swear by, I would use the Patreon app. It's very good.
But yeah, so please check all of that out. Patreon.com/Talking Simpsons. That's the last time I'll say it. And now, let's get back with a cool fisheye lens to Homestar Runner.
Strong bad, wake up!
Blackthorn,
The people need your help!
Wait, the who?
I mean the Purple!
There you go.
They need your help! It's been too long since they had a #1 jam. They've been scraping dope rhymes up off the kitchen floor just to survive.
Another #1 jam? All right, I'll do it. For the Purple. Woke up this morning in a rap song video.
Can you help me with my hip-hop video?
Well, Coach Z, that all depends. Can you get your green mittens on a fisheye lens?
I'm sorry, did you just say womp womp?
That's right, and you know what that means.
I don't.
Things are about to get bulbous. Womp womp, I bought a fisheye lens and make a rap video with a couple of friends. It goes womp womp. All the ladies and men, they know everything is better with a fisheye lens.
Hey, that chorus wasn't kidding. Check out how cool my rap points look.
With a fisheye lens, you don't need to know how to rap or skateboard or do anything well. Just put the camera on the ground and aim it up.
My kicks look huge and my crew looks tough.
We got bulbous hands.
And bulbous feet.
Turn your back to the camera. Shake those bulbous cheeks.
Oh, look at that. I've got a considerable rear shelf.
That makes me uncomfortable. I bought a fisheye lens and make a rap video with a couple of friends. It goes womp womp. All the ladies and men, they know everything is better with the fisheye lens.
And once you use the fisheye, well, you just can't stop. It used to be kind of expensive, but then the price dropped.
I jumped in slow motion off the curb without a skateboard. That should look absurd. But with my fisheye lens, hey, haven't you heard? I got the move so make you say.
Those are some exceptionally smooth moves.
Coach Z,
SB.
what you got for me?
I got the
I-H-Y lens.
Let's pretend I got 10 girlfriends and make amends in my Benz with a fisheye lens. It goes
womp womp. I brought a fisheye lens and make a rap videos with a couple of friends. It goes womp womp. All the ladies and men, they know everything is better with a fisheye lens. Man, fisheye lens, I bet you could even make lame stuff look cool.
Yeah.
What about tax papers?
Oh, look at how cool those papes look. How about the pair of tan pants?
Oh, somebody say country dish towel.
Country dish towel.
Ahem. I have an idea of what we could try. What happens if you point it at a real fish eye?
What? Click. Teto. Click. Do. Chatch.
Bring back the fish eye! Homestar, you broke our rap song video! You turned us into a Dixieland jazz band!
Why y'all gotta be dissing on Dixieland? I think it's great. It's got several syncopations. Several syncopations. Several syncopations tonight.
All right, so we're starting this with the Strong Bad Email Army, which first posted on the homestarrunner.com January 5th, 2004.
Oh, my Lord.
Well, can you imagine where you were, like, right after New Year's in 2004?
Living in my parents' house.
I have trouble thinking about it, too. I will say that these don't really get political, but it is interesting to think that this came out when, like, we were actively invading another country. And that's what this episode is about, invasion.
Yeah, that's funny you mentioned so much of this took place during the George W. Bush era. Mm-hmm. And I don't think very much of that leaked into the show itself.
I don't think so, which does prevent it from being dated, that's for sure. But boy, what a time where just all the news media was like, no, this is the good coup. Certainly that will never happen again in American history. The New York Times won't support a coup of another country.
We'll find those weapons. And if we don't, who cares?
Yeah, it's all in the past. Who cares? It's but okay, yes. Strong Bad is dusting off his compy. This is his second compy, the compy 386. Get up to a lap year in the fourth version he has. Which kind of denotes eras of Strong Bad emails.
It was fun to jump around on YouTube and watch a bunch of these, and the computer would be different. Sort of like the opening to Murder, She Wrote, when she eventually gets a word processor.
Or like if you'd see the opening to a Mystery Science Theater and you're like, oh, I know which one this is. Or you at least know the era.
Ooh, Dr. Erdhart, no way.
If you see the Godzilla sliding, you know what time you're in too. What it was like it was the brain that wouldn't die for a while, for like almost all of the Comedy Central Mike seasons, right?
Except for 7 when they added Pearl Forrester.
Yes, yeah.
Look forward to our Mystery Science Theater podcast. We would do it if we could.
It's kind of commentary proof from us, I think. A little
maybe
bit.
We could do it. If anyone could do it, we could do it.
I accept this challenge. But anyway, yes. Strong Bad opens up, as he usually does, by reading an email.
Whoa, guess it's been a while. Sorry about that, compy. Need to get some end dust. Dear Strongbad, I was curious as to whether or not Strongbadia had an official army. Your homeboy, Hank Tola. Does Strongbadia have an army? Strongbadia needs no army, Hank Tola. Me and that one big guy and that one little guy, we're a one-man army. Or a three-man one-y. 3-to-1 Marty? What I mean to say is, what do we need an army for when the three of us pretty much do as we please? I mean, it's not like there's anyone around to oppose us.
All right, maggot, fall it out. Colonel Homestar 1 is recruiting the most elite team of crack commandos to invade Strongbadia. Do you have what it takes to join the Homestarmy? Will you bring a sack lunch and some orange slices for me and serve your country? Will you, stupid?
No.
The only issue I had with these shorts is that so everyone has an accent or a speech impediment, and also they're recorded at a very low bit rate because we have to remember these were designed for you to download quickly with like a 56K modem if you were lucky.
Yeah.
If you were super lucky, you had cable, but if you were a Joe Schmo, you have 28.8K. And you'd be waiting for that bar to fill up. But yeah, these were designed to be downloaded quickly, which is why the bit rate is so low. We're so spoiled just with instant streaming 4K at our fingertips now.
Yes, man. The kids, how long it took for a photograph of pornography to load. A photograph. At first I thought like, oh, their mic sucked. I was like, I don't know. This could even be a great microphone, but it's the medium through which it was posted. I wanted, though, to get the legitimate sound experience. So this is the audio from it playing on the site as Flash.
Yes.
This is not from a YouTube upload of it even. The appearance of Homestar there is, it's like a Lenny and Squiggy, like, and who'd even do that? Hello.
Yes. And I do like all of the strong bad wordplay throughout these episodes we watch. It's very good.
And Cadonia. And that he also, I like little things like Strong Bad calling Strongman and the Cheat the big guy and the little guy. Like,
Yeah.
it's like he forgot the names of his two best friends.
That's because the names in the series are so, I think, stupid on purpose because there's Strong Sad, Strong Mad, Strong Bad.
King of the whole town.
Yeah.
Pop Pop, Bubs. Sorry, Pom Pom, Bubs,
Bubs.
Marzipan, Coach Z, all these things that don't make, and then like Homestar and
Homestar based on a typo in one of the emails.
Yes.
Who was like an even stupider character than Homestar Runner.
and Sensor Gourd Gauge. It's just a bunch of in jokes that make each other laugh. It also has a certain Royland quality to it of just like, I said a silly thing, befling blong. Like,
It's the new Jerry Lewis style comedy.
I love how stupid Homestar is. Like,
Yeah.
it always makes me laugh.
It's a fun,
big
like,
orange slices for me.
It's a big, like, Stimpy style character. Like, Stimpy meets Brack, almost.
Yeah, actually, they do have a Ren and Stimpy-ish quality to them, too, of a weirdly accented short guy dealing with a larger idiot who hangs around him too much. Though there's no sexual connotations at all between them.
Far less violence.
Yes, yeah. I rewatched a few and there were some trickles of blood occasionally. Like in one of the April Fool's things, which are the more recent ones, he talks about how like April Fool's sucks online. It's about pranking people in real life. And he tricks Homestar into running into a mirror and then he smashes into it and has bits of glass stuck in his face. Or he just tells the king to eat a mirror and he does it.
It does still feel like all ages, though, you know?
Mm-hmm. I like, too, that Strong Bad is not... He loves the idea of Strong Badia, but he also knows it's not really a location. It's more of a concept.
It's a state of mind.
I mean, it's technically a sandbox by a fence. That's what Strong Badia is. But so no one could even invade it if they wanted to. 3-1 Marnie, that's a funny line too. There's a lot of really good lines in this. There's also a fun little reference of him calling him a draft dodger who's going to Canada.
Yeah,
And when he says like Gordon Lightfoot goes around back behind your stairs, that is a reference to famous Canadian musician Gordon Lightfoot, another favorite of nerdy men.
Yes, that came up a lot on Mission Hill?
Yes. Yeah.
That was Kevin's favorite performer.
And Andy would shit on him like, it can't be Gordon Lightfoot. We're not listening to that.
I actually wrote Homestar's line down because I liked it so much. I'm not going to do the voice, by the way, but he says, "We'll see if those trees you hug will save you when Gordon Lightfoot is creeping around your back stair."
That's pretty funny.
Real good.
Actually, that was another thing they were really proud of, that they had not Gordon Lightfoot, but just as well, the lead singer of Rush, Geddy Lee, I believe it was wearing a Trogdor shirt at a concert.
They're big Rush fans, too.
What? White nerds of their age like Rush? What?
I can't believe it either.
I'm stealing a joke from Tom Sharpling, but he says the longest lines from men's room you're going to see is at a Rush concert because no women are there.
Also a big Rush fan, my podcasting friend Jeremy Parrish. Believe it or not.
No, I can't. I love Rush. I like Fry from Futurama is a perfect example of a Rush fan.
He's the coolest guy on that show.
A bottle of Shasta and my all Rush mixtape. Now, see, we're a little younger than Fry, so I had an all Weezer mixtape.
Or Weezer adjacent bands. Or Weezer sound-alikes.
Yes, yeah. Or also an all They Might Be Giants mixtape, you know, because maybe I want to go from a 1988 song to a 1996 song, and you can't stop me. Strong Bad is made aware of Homestar's army that's getting together in 15 minutes, and Strong Bad is a little worried about them.
Oh, and if you change your mind, you want to trade in that skull you're wearing for a nice pair of camos? We're having a pep rally up at the stick in 15 minutes.
Wow. I thought I knew what ridiculous was until this day. This definitely merits some further reconnaissance. The Cheat? The Cheat. I need you to find out... Oh, don't make me call you that. It's not a good commando name. Oh, all right. Firebird. I need you to find out what the crap Homestar Runner is up to at the stick in 15 minutes.
So it's Firebert or Firebird?
Firebert.
Okay.
Bert.
It was hard to hear.
Or it's the way according to the wiki, it's Firebert.
Firebert. I trust the wiki. It was very comprehensive, as I said before.
Though that is a way of mispronouncing Firebird in the way that Strong Bad would do it. But that apparently, too, is the beginning of the idea for the cheat commandos. Like Firebert as a code name would go from there. And also, there's so many fucking references to old media in the show. The cheat wearing the shirt that says henchman is a Batman 66 reference. For instance. And also the cheat himself really reminds me of Eugene the Jeep. And,
yeah, you're right. From Popeye, right?
Yes, yeah. Though he never appeared in the real cartoons, and by real I mean the good ones by the Fleischers. Though those are the only ones I truly, or even in the UPA shorts, I don't know. Or sorry, not UPA, Paramount, the Paramount ones. I don't think the Jeep showed up. Mostly in just the bad television Popeye cartoons. Sorry, I just know the Jeep. I know the Jeep because my mom loves Eugene the Jeep. She
really
bought a stuffed animal of him and had to explain when I was a kid for herself to have it like her desk at work, and she had to explain to me what a Jeep is. I had no idea.
It's a thing you drive in the military.
It's basically, I mean, you know what? Holy shit. Strong Bad is Popeye. Popeye has a weird way of talking and mispronounces everything too.
That makes a lot of sense.
It goes on violent, weird adventures. We're doing a Popeye cartoon in 2019.
We have
These things I shall do.
Do the Alibaba one or whatever.
Sinbad the Sailor?
Yeah,
that's the one I'd start with. Sinbad the Sailor. Anyway, sorry. real sidetracks here. I like too that Homestar calls it a pep rally, that he's so childish. That's very hilarious to me. And you know, it's crude animation these days, to be sure, but I really do like the acting they do on the invisible arms of Homestar.
Yeah, I do like the little props he's holding and poking people with, like the wooden spoon.
And the way they all move of well, if we had a hand, I think we'd move it this way. Like in one of in their Fisheye Lens song at the end of it, Homestar accidentally turns it into a Dixieland band with like those hats that barbershop quartet guys wear, and he wiggles it in the air like hey, but it's with his invisible arm.
I think that's a derby.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
The cheat takes a look at Homestar's pep wowie.
Are you sick and tired of playing second fiddle to a two-bit whistle man and his yellow dog? Yeah! Are you ready to fight alongside your colonel and give your $5 to the Homestar Army if it comes to that? Yeah! Do you want to paint that fence some other cool color and put a fake beard on that tile? Oh, sorry. Forgot to rewind. Yeah! You gotta get yours, I gotta get mine. Alright then, maggots. Let's get out there and invade us some serious strong badia. Company, go!
So we heard Strong Said and Homestar.
Homestar, the stupider Homestar. There's another
real Barney Gumble style voice.
I do what I'm told. That's how small their army is, that it is only Strong Said and Homestar, the loseriest of the characters.
And there was no crowd there. It was Strong Said playing a reaction via tape recorder.
Yeah. That he calls himself, he's trying to say Colonel, but he says Colander. And he
kind of Colonel.
Okay.
Just like saying it like it's spelled. It's hard to make out a lot of things because of how low the quality is. So it's like sort of like a Rorschach test.
Guessing is part of the fun.
Yeah.
But the cheat was watching it all, so he knows that an invasion of Strong Badia is about to happen. And I also do like Homestar's line, could be read almost metatextually too, that it's Homestar talking to the other original characters saying like, hey, aren't you mad that this guy took over the show? This is called HomestarRunner.com, not StrongBad.com. Aren't you mad that all these three weirdos are getting the main characterization on the show? And so they march off to war while the cheat is just revealed, though the cheat watching them doesn't even matter. Like, he doesn't report back to Strong Bad. It's just he was there watching.
They just start invading, right?
Yes, that's it. The invasion begins in Strong Badia, all while Strong Bad and Strong Mad, his older brother, are trying to play badminton.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there is a good mint.
Strong Bad. So I see you decided to join the other side, eh?
What joining? I am the other side.
Ten Hut! Prepare to feel the fluoride sting of the home stormy! Strong Badia will be ours!
No, it won't. We're about to play some badminton. So, no invasion.
Oh. Oh, I see. Retreat!
And they start running away after being told just the mention of it, no invasion means they're not going to do it.
Playing badminton, and then it kicks the bullhorn, which apparently kills Benedetto, the popcorn maker.
I love that.
Yeah.
I had an air pop popcorn maker like that. It's a fun. You don't need it. Microwave popcorn is fine, but it's fun to watch it pop.
It's a lot of fun.
These are like Christian fun afternoons. Watch that popcorn pop.
Forget about your urges.
I guess it is the healthier option too because it pops with hot air, no oil necessary. So that's also fun.
And no evil microwaves.
To let you know what a lame-o I was as a kid.
Let's hear it.
I asked my mom for I think I must have seen it on Price is Right, an air popper. And so as the commercials on that show instructed me to do, I got her to buy one for me. Like I asked for one.
What kind of little boy has a popcorn machine?
A lucky boy. And so we would spend over that summer, my system was of like, I would air pop me some popcorn, Pop Secret, and then just watch either Price is Right or whatever the game show network was running reruns of. Like
you could just lay under it as it fires popcorn into your mouth.
I should have, but eventually there's not enough to throw it out, and so you have to turn it off or it's going to burn the popcorn that doesn't come out.
Yeah.
So. See, air poppers are fun, kids.
But those Jiffy Pop things you put on your stove, they're death traps.
No, yeah, don't do that. That's not worth it. Not worth the trouble. Just go with the popcorn.
You can afford a microwave. Come on. It's 2019.
I guess if you take them camping, maybe that's good. But yes, they kick the popcorn maker, and poor Benedetto is a casualty of war.
And take this stupid thing with you.
Benedetto! Don't you die on me, Benedetto! Not on my watch! Don't you give up! You never gave me the $5.
And that, my dear Hankerin, is why Strong Badia will never need an army. Though we are in dire need of a copy of the official rules of badminton, no idea what we're doing. None. Firebird. Terrible.
I forgot there was one more line. I was looking at Henry like, what? Do we talk now?
I love that line.
It's terrible.
Terrible. Just say to himself, he hates that name.
So were most of the cartoons at some point the emails?
Emails, I think, really took it over.
Yeah.
It was more,
it sort of feels like to me like an improv game. I mean, they're writing this stuff down and everything, but like, what can we make based off of this email? Like, what will our cartoon response be to this email?
And they get thousands of emails a day at their height, they talked about, which is an insane amount for two people to get sent to them for a silly character to answer. I would think that had to be pretty hard on a creative side because you're like, how many of these are bad on purpose to get read by Strong Bad?
Yeah.
You gotta pluck out the insincere bad ones.
Yes, you need an eye for what's truly bad.
I really like the interplay between Strong Bad and Homestar because Strong Bad is definitely smarter than him. They're not that smart, and yet he can't really defeat him. Like Homestar usually gets the better of him. It's almost like he's cursed by fate to be less successful than Homestar, which I believe I only played the first episode of the Homestar game, and that's a big plot point too. Everybody loves Homestar. And nobody in universe likes Strong Bad, which is the complete opposite. I feel like in the real world, when Homestar shows up, people are like, where's Strong Bad? I want that guy.
I just remember I own all of those games, so I can easily play them on my PC.
Holy shit, I do too. I just got a free Steam key, and I feel like Telltale can never undo that. You know, we talk shit about Telltale, and they had awful management, but they had nice PR people who were just like, hey, do you want a Steam key of just every game?
I got one of those just randomly, and I have every Telltale game.
So just wonderful collusion for all those free Telltale games.
And they all get an A+, 10 out of 10.
I could be playing their Law and Order game right now and hear not Sam Watterson talk about things. But all right, so that was one of the emails. Now we're going to a straight up just cartoon they posted from the mid to 2004.
The jail cartoon is what it's called.
Which it also feels like they're recognizing at the start of it, we haven't done a cartoon in a while, have we? Like, we haven't done a full cartoon. One clever thing, actually, I completely forgot to mention in the video game talk was that when they launched the game first as a WiiWare title,
right?
They also made a website. They made games on their site meant to be played on the Wii web browser through your Wii.
Gross.
Isn't that insane?
I was just thinking about how terrible WiiWare was of a concept, and Nintendo was like, maybe we'll do this. I don't think so.
WiiWare was stocked. The only folks who really used WiiWare were guys like the Chapmans who were just like, but we love Nintendo.
Yeah.
Nintendo's not going to meet us even halfway on this, so we'll do 99% of the work to make a WiiWare thing exist.
WiiWare was like, could you download something bigger than an N64 game? Would you want to? Maybe.
And now it literally doesn't exist. You can't do anything.
All those games are dead now.
So it's even better that Strong Bad got on PC as well, or else they'd be just lost if they had stayed as WiiWare exclusives.
You can't play Contra Rebirth anymore.
And you can't even hear the songs anymore. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, boop,
oh,
boop,
yeah.
boop, boop.
Oh, there's a million YouTube channels for that.
Yeah, I know. But yes, the jail cartoon starts with Strong Bad actually doing a bad thing. He's trying to steal chocolate, basically like school chocolate that's being sold for fundraising, which
is a big part of our generation of growing up. Do they still make kids do that? It feels like such a scam. Like, you know what, school, make your own money.
Definitely. They don't, Bob. It's an austerity state.
I went to a private school and they still had to sell crap like this.
That's pretty shitty for your parents already were paying tuition. Come on. The candy stuff. Yeah, I had to sell band candy. And there's definitely those. It should be illegal to advertise to children like that in the school with that stuff. It's wrong.
It taught me about injustice because there would be prizes for the people who sold the most candy. I'm sure I talked about this before on another podcast. And it was basically whoever came in first would be the person whose parent owned a local business and could just have the candy on their desk at work, or their candy, they can just sell candy to people they're showing cars to or something like that. And they would always win the free bike or the free Nintendo when their parents own businesses.
They don't need that bike or the Nintendo. They probably have it already. I would love if one of those rich kids just smashed the Nintendo on stage. Like, I don't even fucking want this.
Right in front of all the poor kids.
No one gets this. But yes, Strong Bad is about to do a crime.
You said it, the cheat. Once we get our hands on Bubs' fundraiser candy bars, our troubles will be over. We can retire, maybe get a little place in Strong Bad here. I don't know. All right, remember the drill. Go straight for the crispy, crackly ones. Don't waste your time on them plain old chocolates. Those things are fool's gold. Okay, hand me the explosives. That cheat, I told you to remove the Fatum. All we needed was the bang.
Homestar.
No, we've been bound. Oh, no. Oh, no, we've been found out.
I really like how observational that is of Homestar going through that one kind of car alarm. The one kind of car alarm that used to exist that would go through every sort of alarm sound, and it would always be in that order.
Yeah, if they didn't get you with the first one of those, maybe you'll be scared off by this third one. I feel like this is an observation made many a time, but who responds to any car alarm by even looking for it? Like, I guess the point of it is that even if people aren't really looking where a car alarm goes off, that the imagined burglar who set it off is scared enough by that they're like, all right, I'm out of here. But It's just so annoying. It's the worst.
My reaction to a car alarm is the opposite reaction of what they want you to have, where I go, I'm going to ignore this.
Yes.
Or I'm just going to get upset that it's happening and not pay attention to it.
And maybe if this car gets stolen, it'll stop
Will
making
somebody
this
please
noise.
steal it? It's right outside my window.
At least drive away with this noise. Though I do agree with Strong Bad about the crispy crackly candy. That's bad. If you get who gets like just a plain Hershey bar?
I mean,
Like, who
especially
wants
the
that?
school chocolate is terrible. You want to cut it with some crisp rice or something in there, or some
Get
peanuts.
a little caramel
Yeah.
in there, just liquid sugar. At least that's a little more exciting. You know, my band candy I had to sell actually was pretty good candy. I have to say, it felt like real milk chocolate, which is not a thing anymore.
Thank God, I hate milk chocolate.
Oh, you
Dark.
Yeah, you're dark and bitter.
80%.
Oh no. Apparently that was also a running gag in episodes of just him saying, "Oh no, the cheat, you were supposed to," and the cheat just fails him. Though he says like remove the fatum, I guess he means the things that the standees for the
So
fireworks.
The fireworks are called fathum bangs. And the
Oh,
fathum is the thing that sent it into the air, and the bang is the rocket part. So he did not remove the fathums. Again, the audio on these is really kind of bad, so you gotta have to listen very closely.
And then we gotta get the appearance of Coach Z and Bubs taking him away. If I didn't have the wiki, I would not have known that Coach Z was originally invented to be Homestar's actual coach for him being a sports athlete.
These backstories in the show.
I mean, the joke is that they don't care. Like,
Yeah.
the Chapmans don't care either about it. Then, sorry, I misspoke. This is where the cheat is wearing the henchman outfit that's from Batman 66. So then we get the cute little mugshot drawing with the fun music. They got, this was when chiptune music was really getting hot in America too in 04.
Yeah, there's sort of like a title card, right, for this episode.
Which I think is a higher level of or a certain production choice they didn't usually make with titling stuff like that. After Strong Bad gets booked by the cops and had his Prince run, or I guess his gloved mittens run, he then gets a letter to jail.
Dear prisoner number 5408, a.k.a. Strong Bad, a.k.a. Professor Tor Cool Guy. I can only hope your incarceration turns your life around as much as it has mine. I feel cooler and less like I suck so bad. I've made some changes around the house. Your computer room is now my Tai Chi space. Wait. Well, I gotta go. Marzipan and I have a baklava in the oven. Hoping you don't get shivved. Strong Sad.
One of the running jokes in this one is how no one can say baklava
Yeah.
correctly, which I believe is a Greek pastry.
They're tasty. That's
Yeah.
all I know.
Baklava.
Baklava. Tor Cool Guy is apparently a reference to the Guilty Gear video game.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a Guilty Gear character.
The Guilty Gear character is Saul Bad Guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And one thing I just got from so I've seen Strong Bad a million times, just the character, not necessarily the cartoons, and I just realized like he's a Mexican wrestler, but he has boxing gloves on.
Yes,
so
yeah.
the fact that he's a stupid character is baked into his design.
You know, I never thought of that aspect of like when you're a pro wrestler, you need your hands to grapple.
Yeah.
Grappling is your main job. So to then have boxing gloves that he also types
type
on
with, yeah.
things, it's great. Strong Sad, what a loser. He's totally a virgin to the Chad. Strong Bad.
Could you say beta? You know what?
Yeah.
I was out eating last night and working on notes, and there were British people next to me, and one of them said, "You're a total beta." And I was like, "Oh, I have to move."
That sounds
They weren't
even-
talking to me, by the way, but I overheard a conversation. They were
Yes.
not talking to
Okay,
me.
got it.
I was like, "Beta, number one, beta, number two, beta."
Yeah, using that term unironically, but then saying it in a dumb British way.
Yeah.
Of beta.
Beta.
It's a beta.
I'm sorry to
guys.
all of our British people out there. I'm sorry you're British.
Yeah,
Burn.
burn. If I had to hear somebody say Zed, I'm gonna lose it. But yes,
It's the beta of Dragon Ball Z. Hey, Canadians say Z, and it bothers me too.
I don't like that. You're
Yeah.
closer to us. Not
Zed is a hillbilly's name. It's not a letter of the alphabet.
And the strong sad though definitely fills the loser trope who once he doesn't have strong bad always around to make fun of him and tell him he sucks, he starts having a slight amount of confidence.
He feels like it doesn't suck as bad.
And he's even hanging out with Marzipan, the one girl everyone knows. I think also it adds to the kind of Muppet Babies man-children feel of it that the jail for them is they just got put in a cardboard box.
Yeah.
That's them doing hard
Underneath
time.
an overturned cardboard box, not even in a
Oh,
box.
yes, yeah. Fortunately, Strong Bad has an escape plan.
You gotta get us out of the joint, man. I don't think the cheetah's gonna make it. Sweet Lady Freedom, let's make out. Hey, shut up. What are you horning in on my girl? Only I get to make out with. Oh, right. The escaping.
And they run off. Strong Mad didn't even plan to break him out that way. He baked a jackhammer into a cake.
Right.
Everybody's pretty stupid in this world. Which is funny to me.
Who isn't stupid? I bet maybe Strong Sad isn't stupid.
Marzipan's not so
Yeah.
stupid. Yeah, Strong Sad is just spineless. He's not dumb, I suppose. Coach Z seems no, he's pretty dumb too, as is Bubs. But the also just Strong Mad though is very much. He's even drawn to look a lot like Gossamer in shape, in body shape. Which when I first saw. When the game came out and I was uploading like screenshots of it, coworkers at Games Radar were just like, is this real? What the fuck? This is a drawing of a game character. And then other folks who work there are like, no, it's Homestar. You don't get it? Like it's supposed to look this bad.
People at a games website didn't know what Homestar Runner was. I mean, I kind of didn't.
Some had lives. Some of us didn't.
They shouldn't have been at a game site then if they had lives.
And I also like the way they're both kissing Sweet Lady Freedom, the way they kind of like wiggle back and forth as they're imagining kissing the Freedom. Then we get a little interaction between Marzipan and Homestar, which she feels like she thinks she's dating him when Homestar's like, duh, I'm too stupid to know what a date is.
He promises to hyphenate his name. Is that a Spider-Man thing?
I think
sort
so.
of like
yeah.
it'll make him a superhero if he hyphenates his name.
Yeah, that's
what I read it as.
I read it as that too. Or it could just be like people were asking that at the time. Like, could it just be hyphenated? It would make more sense. And that was them answering like, no, we're not gonna. All as Homestar is talking to Marzipan, Strong Bad is committing some more crimes.
Hey, lady.
Homestar, did you know that crime is on the rise?
Yeah, I know. Is it?
Yes, things are very serious now. So what are you going to do to protect me?
I could put a dash between Homestar and Runner from now on.
Really? You do that for me?
No, of course not.
Oh man, the cheek. We struck it rich this time. Now we can retire to the moon. So, describe to me what the perpetrator looked like.
Head to head, like a big old, round old, red old, nasty old egg.
I see.
And the hands looked like biscuit dough.
Uh-huh. Is this the man?
It was biscuit dough hands, man. I knew it.
Did he have like an Abe Lincoln face or something? That's what it looked like.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think so. There's a lot of cool moments in there. Just how Homestar very like immediately like, no, I'm not doing that.
I like anytime a character will immediately contradict themselves for no reason in dialogue is great. It's just so funny to me.
Well, it's also just it's a great exchange too. The Marzipan is obviously not asking him to hyphenate his name. He randomly says he'll do it. Her reaction is like, "Oh, you do that for me?" No, no. He just laughs at her that she'd even want that. And also, as she said, like, crime is on the rise. Oh, right. Is it? Meanwhile, in the background, Strong Bad's like, to the moon. Like, there's a good little wiggle to his head as he says moon.
And he's stolen the crown from the king of town.
Yes. And we get to see Bubs there, who, he's kind of got, it's a blackish voice, not aged as well.
From ABC's Blackish?
Yes, he's being Anthony
ABC.
Anderson.
Okay.
No. Meanwhile, Coach Z, I really like his kind of Chicago-style accent there.
He was kind of hard for me to understand, to be fair.
He was the one.
Yeah,
They all-
the most hard to understand.
I see.
I know the audio quality on these got better over time.
I love the line, "Oh, biscuit hands." There are 7 people in town, and they don't know it's strong bad from that description. And just how long it takes the king to go like a big old red old big gold.
I really also enjoy, so go back to our one of our earlier episodes of What a Cartoon about Beavis and Butthead. I really like shows where everyone is stupid because it's actually very hard to write.
To have it still be funny while everybody's
and not just a
dumb.
bunch of random like epic bacon cheese monkey nonsense, which this could easily be. I actually, going back to this, I was surprised it isn't that. Like, I think things like Invader Zim, and I do want to do Invader Zim for this, but I feel like that is very much of that Mad Libs. I mean, there's like a Mad Libs character in Invader Zim, and I was kind of expecting that from this, but it's surprisingly inspired. Like, the choices they're making are on purpose.
Yeah, it's true. You know, I think of Trogdor the Burninator's funny, but it does feel like the kind of like, it's random. It's a dragon drawn in a certain way with consonant V's. But in practice, these are character-based jokes about the people in town being different types of stupid.
Yeah.
It's not just like, well, I have something, Bacon Ninja. Oh, yeah, well, I'm a pirate man. None of that
Bacon
shit.
Ninja and Pirate Man is my favorite Newgrounds series.
And then one gets their head ripped off, and then they shit down the other one. But yeah, so the Cheat and Strong Bad are getting a little full of themselves with how excited they're getting in these thefts. Much like, though, the king, I was a little hungry for biscuits hearing about biscuit dough. They steal the Poop Smith, which is...
You have to know...
yes,
Sorry, I'm sorry.
It makes no sense.
Yeah,
if
like,
you
I had to
don't
look
know.
up, like, because, again, I couldn't understand what the king was saying. And I was like, what did they steal? And it's the Poop Smith with the character whose job is unspoken, but it's... imagine that he is, like, the handler of poop.
Let's see, he has a dirty shovel.
Yeah, and he's, like, he's got gloves on, they're covered in brown substance, so...
Yeah.
It's the one bit of scatological humor in the series. But everyone is also grossed out by him, around him.
It's the funny is the word, the Poop Smith. Like, it's a funny
I
word.
like it.
But yes, they. Actually, sorry. Before he gets kidnapped, it's Strong Bad who talks the Cheat into doing it.
Quit being such an old cheat. We gotta come out of retirement for this one last job. No. It's like this. The ransom money becomes the new retirement money. And the retirement money becomes the new college fund. And the college fund, we blow on a really tricked out van. Yes! Another victim claimed by Strongbad's powers of persuasion. No living the cheat can resist the P.O.P. Hang on, I'm not done yet. And, okay, I was done. Let's go.
That was very funny too.
Yeah.
No living the cheat can resist it. I like
P.O.P.
that. And that the cheat always does everything he says.
Yeah.
But this time he's so proud of himself, convincing him by saying like, "No, come on, do it." And I like the very improvisational quality of like, "Hey, I wasn't done yet." All right, yeah, it was. Yeah. And that's when they go and steal the Poop Smith. Everyone is on high alert after the Poop Smith is gone, which includes Homestar interviewing another character that never talks.
Oh, God, yeah.
Pom Pom.
Will your force and last line of defense? Only you can prevent scouting. Boy, do we need forest fires. Aha! Pom Pom! What are you doing out past curfew? Don't play games with me, roundy man. Just who are you walking with? Homestar Runaway? Sounds like a no goodness to me.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like you're totally right. Everyone is a different kind of stupid, and his stupid is just being easily distracted from what he's trying to do.
He doesn't even
and forgetting
know
who he is.
He forgets who he is, but also, well, he's too committed to his character. It's something to when Homestar is given a new job or task, he's just like he goes all in on.
Yeah.
that. He's like, well, no, I'm not Homestar anymore. I'm a policeman who is flashing his light. The constant clicking is a great little extra joke. It's just
Yeah.
like sounds like a pushing to me and clicking on and off to try to, I guess, shake up Pom Pom.
And shining it in his face?
Yes.
At his head, maybe? I don't know if there's a face on that thing.
Well, all he does is speak in bubbles normally. Apparently, Pom Pom sometimes really talks, but in this, it's just a bubble talk. He's technically Homestar's best friend, but that feels like the old continuity that
The
they
story
don't really
Bible.
care. Yes.
Yeah. What they eventually veered away from.
And so Strongbad seemingly got away with stealing the Poop Smith, a.k.a. the Dutyman, as he calls himself. And this definitely feels like a rush to the end kind of. They're like, we gotta end this cartoon now. We're at 6 minutes.
It's
This is
almost
getting
3
long.
megs big.
Attention, whatever weirdos are concerned about the Poopsmith.
Oh, hey, Strongman.
What the? Oh, holy crap! I thought I smelled bacon. How'd you find us?
We followed this mysterious trail the Poopsmith left.
Ew.
That, and we got an anonymous tip from Strongman.
I told him you were behind the fence.
You sold me out. You sold me out. The chief, tell him that he... Oh, never mind. Oh, man, it's just strong bad.
Once again, Biscuit the Wayne's man slips through our fingers. Well, kids and people, it just goes to show. Strong Sad doing Tai Chi is really, really funny. Hey! What? It was. You all like, chocolate, pa,
Who wants baklava?
I like all the little simple ditties in this episode. Very lo-fi.
And you get one last baklava joke.
Yeah. I want some now. Is there a Greek bakery in town?
I bet if you went to Berkeley Bowl nearby,
Yeah.
you'd get some. Ooh. Oh, also right before he's giving his ultimatum, he's like, "Oh, I need to disguise myself," and he puts a hockey mask on over his mask.
That's great. I think these 2 episodes really show just how versatile the series is and was. Just because we have the email sort of framing device and also just a random cartoon where it's like, well, anything can happen. We don't need to set this up in any way, and it still works.
And that they could even just make a Flash game that expresses a storyline too through action, and that let them recreate an old video game they loved. Or they could have one that just ends with Strong Bad getting caught for no reason, just because like, well, we got to. I like the identification of an anonymous tip off from Strong Sad.
Yeah.
And then even Strong Sad isn't trying to stay anonymous. He just pops up and
he
is
told
like,
us you were behind this fence.
It's like, I did tell him that. The last line delivered to by Homestar, it's like, well, kids and people, it shows you that, and you think he's about to say crime doesn't pay, and he says it's funny to laugh at him doing Tai Chi. What it is it's such a fun way of saying like what it is, like just matter of fact.
Yeah, I like it.
Almost like a child saying like, what? I called her ugly. She is. Bleh.
And again, very distracted by what's happening.
Very easily distracted. And there's always, they usually had an extra fun thing to Homestar I had forgotten until going to the Flash version of the site and watching these was clicking around in the box to find the hidden Easter egg for the last joke.
I forgot about how in the era of Flash cartoons, there would often be just sort of like a sort of adventure game style element where there'd be hidden hotspots sometimes at the end of the cartoon or sometimes during the cartoon that you could click on. And that is not happening with our modern streaming shows, except for that stupid Black Mirror thing.
Yes, yeah, that's the closest we get to it these days.
Yeah, listen, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sick of hearing about it. Also, video games are real, people. They've existed for a while. Telltale was making that for a decade.
Well, you know that one of Telltale's last things they were doing was the the video version of their Minecraft games.
Oh, yeah. They just were making it a cartoon, right?
Yep.
Wow.
They just animated it into a cartoon. Well, because that's really them meeting the kids where they are for Minecraft. The kids aren't even buying their game to see it.
Yeah.
They want it to just play in front of them. And so why not put it on Netflix and get some money for yourself instead of letting some YouTube streamer share it?
I mean, at a certain point, this is getting off topic. At a certain point, those Telltale games were not adventure games. They were things you watch and did a multiple choice personality test as you took it.
That ultimately
as you watched it,
had no real bearing on what your ending would be.
The illusion worked for a time.
I mean, I played, the most recent ones I played were like the 2016 Batman and Guardians of the Galaxy ones, and they were well done. I liked the stories they told.
I know the Strong Bad ones were of the era where there were puzzles and there were fair puzzles. Like this era had like the Monkey Island reboot or remake, or sorry, not remake, the Monkey Island reboot, Tales of Monkey Island, also Sam & Max season 3. Like this is a really good era for Telltale, and I have to assume, like, I was looking at the credits for these games, and we're talking about the games now, by the way, but there are people from LucasArts who worked on the Homestar Runner games.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a good pedigree there. I want to play them now, and I will.
It is, actually, if you're used to recent Telltale games, going back to ones that actually tried to have puzzles in them that could be frustrating, like when I played the Batman one, and the Guardians one, if they even took a minute to be like, hey, could you find this thing around the stage? It felt weird. I was like, oh, I have control over myself and I'm trying to find a thing. That's
I can
weird.
walk around the screen?
I'm just supposed to have conversations or tap a bunch. I mean, the Telltale was a thing of diminishing returns. They just gave you so many of the same thing that it made a special thing no longer special. Or it made it less special.
Yeah, I got burned out around Walking Dead season 2. I never finished it.
Nope,
I was
didn't
done with
finish that
Telltale
either,
pretty
yeah.
much. But
Yeah,
so that was our Telltale podcast, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. But no, yeah. So Homestar Runner, I am regretful that I didn't get into it. Maybe it was a bit of snobbery on my part, but also I gave my reasons earlier that I realized about how good it was too late, and I felt like there was too much to catch up on, and I wasn't sure if it would hold up, but it does hold up. I mean, some of the stuff is very much of its time. A little cringy, but I think this is remarkably, has withstanded the test of time, and people still love it. People are willing to spend over $1 million on a board game based on a reference, so the audience is still there, and these cartoons are really easy to find, and I assume you could probably buy them on some sort of media, or
I think
if
they
you
still
want.
sell the DVD of like a certain years of their things. Yeah. And I mean, just head to homestarrunner.com. It still is a website that shows you things. Like it's just fun to go back in time to be like, oh wow, this was a website.
But don't go
That's
there on your
right.
phone, because it won't work.
Yeah. Oh, it's not going to do anything. But hey, you know that already. I mean, also go retro and visit a website on like a tower computer, even a desktop.
Go retro and visit a website
and order something from a place that isn't Amazon.
Can you do that? Oh my God! Do they charge shipping?
I have occasionally bought anime from from Right Stuff, so I can confirm you can buy things from not Amazon.
Man, I still don't believe it.
But yeah, no, this was really fun to go back to. It took me back to a real state of mind that used to feel so recent that I do feel old exploring it in a nostalgia way, but it is a time of nostalgia. And so
we're coming up on 20 years of Homestar Runner.
Yeah, holy crap. I mean, they've passed 20 years since they invented the character as a book character. But yeah, next January 2020, it will be 20 years since the website domain was purchased.
I bet they will have a new cartoon on that day.
They better.
They better have a new cartoon on that day.
Come on, you better.
Yeah.
Hey. Now we become the fans who are just like, make stuff.
Quit counting your Trogdor money, guys. Make a new cartoon already.
And finally, yes, thanks to Devin for making us do this episode.
Yeah, I'd be open to more web cartoons if there are any other good ones.
But only good ones.
Only good ones.
Please,
get back to me. I know there's more than this.
No CAD, please.
For enough money, I would do anything, including Control Delete. This is the business that we're in now. But
Sure.
if you want to support our business and paying us to do whatever you want us to do and get bonus podcasts on top of that, please go to the Talking Simpsons Network at patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons. If you sign up at the $5 level, you get every episode of this podcast and our sister podcast, Talking Simpsons, 1 week ahead of time and ad-free. And also, we have lots of bonus podcasts on top of that at the $5 level. Exclusive miniseries like Talking Critic, Talking Futurama, and the upcoming Talking of the Hill coming in March. It will be a Patreon exclusive, the entire first season of King of the Hill, done with the Talking Simpsons style. Also, tons of interviews, season wrap-ups, deleted scene specials, and just random fun things like community podcasts and things like that. And we have a new $10 level podcast. Henry, what is that?
Well, folks, if you like hearing Bob and I talk about a different animated series each week, wouldn't you want to hear once a month me and Bob talk about an animated film for even longer?
Mm-hmm.
Animated films like Mask of the Phantasm, Kiki's Delivery Service, Akira, and a Goofy movie? You could hear us talk about all of those with a new podcast each month if you became a premium $10 a month patron. We leave the choices up to polls of our top Patreon supporters, but only the $10 folks get to hear it. And I mean, our Akira one was fantastic. It was a huge effort. Bob worked a ton on both the editing and the prep of information.
I'm so proud of it. It's our longest podcast to date.
3 hours.
3 hours.
Yes, yeah. And who are you to deny yourself the amazing experience of hearing us talk for 3 hours about Akira? We really...
No minute is wasted on that podcast.
Not a one. I honestly felt like we went 30 minutes shorter than we could have.
I could never talk about Akira again, frankly.
And don't deny yourself that pleasure. Sign up at the $10 and up level today at patreon.com/Talking Simpsons. When you sign up, you get an RSS feed that can easily be plugged into whatever podcast device you enjoy.
And again, that is patreon.com/TalkingSimpsons. As for me, I have been one of your hosts, Bob Mackey. You can find me on Twitter as Bob Servo. My other podcast is Retronauts, a classic gaming podcast every Monday and occasionally Friday. Check out retronauts.com or look for Retronauts in your podcast machine. We've been doing that podcast since 2006, so there's bound to be some episode you will like. So download that episode and listen to it. Why don't you? Henry, how about you?
Boy, Retronauts is a contemporary of Homestar Runner.
Oh, you're right.
So
oh, boy.
Well, hey, I'm Henry Gilbert, the other host, and you can find me on Twitter at HENEREYG. I tweet out whatever's going on the Patreon or with What a Cartoon or Talking Simpsons. So be sure to follow me there. And why not retweet and tell people about the cool podcasts we're doing all the time? That's HENEREYG.
Thanks so much for joining us, folks. We'll see you next week with the Doug episodes, Doug Takes the Case and Doug's Secret Song. We'll see you then.
Trapdoor was a man. I mean, he was a dragon man. I mean, he was just a dragon. But he was still Burninating the countryside, burninating the peasants, burninating all the people in the thatch-roof cottages! Thatch-roof cottages! And the trapdoor comes in the night!
Hello, Marzipan. This is Professor Thor, Cool Guy. I was just calling to see if you'd be interested in preparing for your doom.
Spin your passion into a business with Shopify and break sales records with the world's best converting checkout. Let's hear that one more time. The world's best converting checkout. Shopify's legendary checkout makes it easier for customers to shop on your website, across social media, and everywhere in between. Now that's music to your ears. Any way you spin it, you can be a smash hit with Shopify. Start your $1 a month trial today at shopify.com/records.